It's 6:32, so
6:32.
yeah, you can start anytime you want.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting of St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast by local access programming and with remote participation available as provided on our agenda. Is there anyone here recording tonight's meeting? No one's recording. So I hereby call the meeting to order at 6:32 PM. A roll call of the members present.
Jim Foran.
Brendan Doyle.
Kate Thompson.
Mike Rocco.
Josiah Birch.
And Mark Muncham. All right. First up, no meeting minutes to review. That's the first.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't think that's ever happened.
That's amazing.
So we'll start with old business. 6:30 PM, notice of intent, DEP number 1431118, public hearing for Michael DiCaro, 120 Gilboa Street, map 138, lot 43.1. Someone here to represent?
Good evening. Gary Magnuson, CMG Environmental.
Hi, Gary. Welcome
here.
back.
Thank you. This spot okay?
Perfect.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can have a better seat than that.
No,
Here,
this is a
take-
good one.
You should-
The last time you guys told me when I almost fell over. So I
You
moved
passed
that
the
with
test, though.
Don't need any lawsuits.
Four solid. Nice and stable.
Okay.
So, thank you, commission members, for hearing us here tonight. By the way, I thought the last meeting was productive. Comments from your agent were very helpful. Followed up the next day with a nice letter with some requested changes. We made those changes. I do apologize. I thought we had until Friday to get them in, and we got them in on Thursday, and we're running around like a chicken, so
You're good.
a few little issues, but I think it's good. Been communicating with Brandon. I think we're good to go. I think the concerns primarily focused around a little bit on means and methods, and a little bit about the access route. So we did put the access route on the plan. We did include details for wattles. We did include details for swamp mats, which are basically just showing how we're going to lay out the mats. The proposed swamp mats are the wooden ones that you see people using for primarily utility access, power line work right now. Have you done this?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
We showed some minor site details for the plants that are proposed. Did the best we could on another plan to show where the couple of trees that are going to come out are. And it was kind enough to send me his photos because mine didn't work, but the RM and YB indicates the trees that we're going to take out. Those are plus or minus 5 feet of where they currently are. We'll work with your agent to put them back, well, not them, we're going to take those out, kill those, and we'll put new ones back. And then we'll work with your agent to make sure that they're put back in a location that's acceptable. I think the one thing that's warrants a quick discussion is the concern of the project getting out of scale. Brendan asked about that. And last time I spoke about the possibility of us doing some additional sampling prior to doing the work so that the exact extent of the excavation is determined. We are going to do that. Right now, as I said last time at the meeting, the area of excavation is only the size of this table, and I have 20 samples in that area already. 3 are bad. We're going to go back and take some more samples, so anywhere where we're not completely comfortable, we found the perimeter of it, we'll take 2 samples, and then we're going to take some bottom samples. Those samples will be collected, stakes will be placed in the field where they are, they'll be surveyed in place, and we'll know that where the clean boundary is. So before we put any piece of equipment on site, we will know exactly where the excavation limits are. And it will be done in 1 or 2 days.
Yep.
We will not be waiting for any laboratory data. And the concern comes from a typical IRA plan where we're digging up petroleum contamination, or we're doing something where a house oil tank leaked, or a vehicle had a tractor trailer flipped over on the highway or something, and we're chasing contamination, so we don't know where the end of it is. This is different. We know exactly where the bounds of it are. So we're going to go in. Before we even start, I'm going to show Brandon exactly where we're digging. We're going to dig, we're going to backfill, we're going to walk away. So I think that should
To
quell that concern.
paraphrase Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, which is what happens with these RAM plans and IRAs, is you go in there with a plan, then all of a sudden something shows up, and you're like, oh, we didn't know about that, and then you start digging more and more, and next, before you know it, it's the size of this room. I've seen that happen.
Primarily with metals or petroleum, I would imagine, right?
Yes, yeah, and the case I'm working right now in Halifax with the spent munitions. Yeah.
So we're going to do a lot of testing prior. We'll know exactly where we're going. We're not going beyond the performance.
Okay.
So that's the quick comment from me. I certainly take any questions from anyone.
The installation of the swamp mats, that they're just placed on the ground, correct? Is there any clearing or vegetation removal in the wetland?
So we walked it. There's nothing in the wetland. In the upland, there's some really scrub stuff, junk. Nothing that needs to be removed. It'll just kind of get run over, and it'll grow back up.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if you look up at the screen, this is where they're going to come in from. So they're going to have to take down this section of gate. And then if you turn 180 degrees, this is the area they're going to come through. And Gary and Samantha right there are standing right around the edge of the wetland. And they're going to be able to thread the needle through this area and not have to take down any trees, maybe some scrub brush. Like this thing right here, which is a Morrow's honeysuckle. I think I remember telling you that much of this area, like there's a big old, like a very old pile of fill.
Right.
And on top of, yeah, there are some white pines, but there is a lot of invasive plants. So Gary here is putting up a center line of access road flag. Well, I watched, we went through and we agreed on what the best area to go in to do this project would be. And then you walk over to the edge of that fill pile and you look down, it's like a 10-foot drop, plus or minus, and then right at the bottom here is where they're going to be digging. In order to do that, they have to kind of scrape it back to make it not so steep.
Yeah.
Which is why I would like to recommend some kind of a special condition that there's some kind of limited oversight on this, because and I just feel like it's necessary in this case to make sure that the swamp mats get down properly in the space they're supposed to, that they followed the route they're supposed to, and that when they're done, that the plants go in and the clean soil goes in, and then like check up on it at the end to make sure they put Humpty Dumpty back together, so to speak.
And
That's okay with you,
we
Gary.
support that as the applicant. I would
Yeah.
rather be able to communicate with the agent or somebody to make sure that you guys are pleased. Our intent here is, we're not building a house, we're not doing anything exciting, we're making a problem go away. So
Right.
we just want to work with you guys, appreciate your efforts, and just want to be done with it.
The yin and the yang of that, and I'll be straightforward, is that it might require some more funds on my end for
Oh, I'm
53G.
I'm sure.
Okay.
So is that your way of saying that if there are more funds on your end, that they're going to pay for it?
If there are more funds required, yes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Again, the project is something that nobody wants to do. It has to be done. I'm not going to stand here and say, no, we're not going to support your agent in making sure that we can get this done in a way that's efficient. I worked with Brendan before. I think we can communicate, and certainly I would hope that he doesn't need to stand there and watch us every minute of time. I think we can
No,
have phone
that's
calls
not-
and
that's not gonna be the
communicate
case.
And keep his time to a minimum, but yet have it sufficient so that he's comfortable and the agent, the board is comfortable with the project.
I'm thinking pre-construction meeting to go over it with whoever's doing the work, like a midpoint inspection and then an end inspection. That's what I'm thinking.
Don't we normally do an end inspection?
For a certificate of compliance, yes, but I think that this should get done before they do that, like before the big yellow machines leave the site. We should do something, so in case there's something that I think they missed or they need to do, they can do it before the machine leaves. Once the machine leaves, it's hard to get them back.
And again, we support that. This is a pretty simple project from our perspective, and we need your approval, and we want to work with you guys in a way that works for everybody, so that's
So
fine.
does that require the owner that you're representing to come to agreement with you, or how does that work?
It does, it would ultimately be the owner paying for any additional funds that are required.
But they don't have to run it through us, they run it directly to you?
I would submit a proposal to the commission. It would ultimately go through them. We get pretty much a verbal from them, and then Mark would sign it. Doesn't necessarily have to go through the whole commission.
I tend to think that the time spent by the conservation agent in the field while the work is underway is better than having an issue and trying to take care of it after the fact. So I think it's less expensive in the end to do it that way. So I'm supportive of that, of having you, meet with them, see it halfway through, and then see it, just a check on the end. I mean, you may only be there half an hour,
Right.
So that's, I think, worthwhile to me.
Again, to reiterate, we don't have, I prefer it, actually, it's fine. If we're trying to hide something, I'd say no. But we're not trying to hide anything, we're just, we're going to do it correctly, and there are some, I'm not a wetland expert, I'm a hazardous waste site guy, so we know what we're doing, we'll make sure we take care of it correctly, but there might be a minuscule thing that Brendan wants done different, we'll do it differently. So you guys are happy at the end of the day?
Sounds good. Any other questions from commission members? Brandon, you okay?
I'm okay with it.
Anybody from the public have any comments or concerns? Seeing no one, close this public hearing. And does anybody want to make a motion?
Sure. Make a motion for the NOI DEP 143-1118 for 120 Gilboa Street, map 138, lot 43.1, to add the special conditions for an oversight, make sure the swap mats and follow the route. When they're finished, make sure everything is put back together the way it was prior, and with the 3 check-ins that we've discussed with Brandon.
Second.
Thanks. Motion's been made by Jim and seconded by Brendan. All those, roll call vote, please.
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you guys very much.
Appreciate it.
We'll be in touch.
Yep, tell me when you're ready to start.
Yeah, we're a month or so out, so. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Good evening.
All right, next. Yes.
May I request that we take item 4 out of order, please?
Sure. I don't mind.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to item 4, request for certificate of compliance, DEP number 143-0932, Eliza Silva, 69 Woodland Road, map 237, lot 22. Is there someone here to represent this project?
I don't know if he's here, but we asked him at our last meeting to provide a narrative from the engineer.
Yes, we asked him
In the packet, I can share the screen if you'd like.
yeah, we asked him for the letter from the engineer.
Yes. I'm sharing the screen right now. If you'd like me to read it, I could.
Sure.
John Sargent, registered professional engineer from Commonwealth of Mass, registration number and the letter. Reviewed the original filing for the Conservation Commission on a plan that's been provided. Project was assigned a DEP file number that we have on our record. Order of conditions was issued, book and page is referenced. Extension permit order was issued and recorded. The property is clean of any debris and/or land disturbance is in good working order. The site is full of vegetation and has achieved site stabilization. There are not any areas of the site which are void of vegetation, plantings, or lawn area as proposed in the original submitted plan. I found that all the proposed work detailed in the plan and contained in the order of conditions has been completed in substantial compliance with the approved plans and documents. The requested commissions issue a certificate of compliance letter for the above mentioned address. 69 Woodland Road, DEP file number 143-0932. 0932, excuse me. I also concur with this letter. I think, in my site walk, I showed it at the last meeting. I think this property is definitely in order. Everything seems to be in line with the as-built plan, so I recommend a full certificate of compliance for this item.
Thank you, Matt. The house is quite different in shape and size than what was proposed. Was there a reason for that, do you know?
Yes, so the garage had to be moved onto the other side, and that was part of the amended order and the extension that was granted. There was an issue with the neighbor, and so they moved the garage to the other side to appease that.
I remember that.
Okay. Anybody on the commission have any questions or concerns?
No.
All right. Well, I will, anybody in the public have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve certificate of compliance for DEP 143-0932, 69 Woodland Road, map 237, lot 22.
Is there a second?
A second.
Made by Jim, seconded by Brendan. Roll call vote, please.
Jim Farr and I.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Mike Greco, aye. Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mangum, aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brandon, there's a signature folder in the file behind you.
Right.
Thank you.
Fact, she getting started on 120 Gilboa.
Did everyone have their fulfillment of corned beef and hash?
Not this year. This year we had shepherd's pie.
I love shepherd's pie.
It was my son's birthday too, recently, just this past week, so we had his birthday party and my birthday party, because now I have to share. We had it on Saturday night, and he wanted shepherd's pie, so everybody had shepherd, and everybody loved it.
How old is he now?
21, so he had, yeah,
Wow.
so he had
Yeah,
a,
Guinness too, maybe.
yeah, he did. Yes, he did. So he was a happy boy.
What was that we just signed?
That forms a good base
This one was
for a
120
nice
Gilboa.
long night, too.
That was
Not, I don't know that from experience.
No, you wouldn't know.
Heard it from a
Guessing.
friend.
Just get, so, yeah, yeah.
How about you, Ben?
Oh, my
Okay,
goodness.
Thank you.
I have another one here.
I thought somebody may bring in some green cookies tonight.
Yep, no one brought anything.
No one, Brian. Guess
I was running late. I apologize.
I brought something last week,
No
so
need.
I'm covered.
Jim looks
No
right at
need to
you.
I know, well, in fairness, I did, it is kind of my fault, so I'll
The
take
pressure, the pressure is
It is
on.
not.
Yeah,
I started it.
you
so
did.
I'm kind of obligated, but I literally didn't have time at home. I apologize.
You had all weekend, right?
True, good point. Hard to argue with that.
Nice.
Good save there.
Sorry, made
Lightning
homemade pasta with the
I'll
kids.
say.
Should have played golf.
What kind of pasta? Like ravioli?
Raviolis and spaghetti and fettuccine.
We usually have a big corned beef and cabbage dinner. We didn't do it this year.
No.
All right, next up, items 2 and 3, 56 Lakeshore Drive enforcement order and Lakeshore Drive enforcement order. We've been waiting for the DEP to get back to us on this, but have we heard back from them, Brandon?
We heard back from them 2 weeks ago when Tom Rabula answered the phone, and he couldn't tell me of any progress being made on it. But he did answer the phone, so that was something. So I tried calling him again last week, and he didn't answer. And I left a message on his phone saying that I'm going to keep on bothering you until you're sick of hearing from me that you're going to want to answer it. So that's where I'm at.
Okay. Mr. Moran, did you want to say something?
I do, yes, thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, for the record, Robert Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive. And online is Ryan Douglas, attorney with Rubin and Rudman, who is familiar with this.
Shall I bring that up on the screen?
Oh, okay. I have a letter provided today, or memo. Do you want me to circulate copies? I have extra copies.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's a letter from OHI about the,
We do have it, it's in our,
you do, okay.
Yep.
All right, fair enough.
Why not? Yeah, take it home.
I don't know that there's much I need to add to this, in that OHI has now formally advised me not to proceed until the stormwater situation is resolved.
I would tend to agree. Why do the work on his slope there when you could have another big storm and have it blow out again? I think that you have to start from the top. You have to fix it from the top down.
And briefly, I'll just say something. First of all, good evening, everyone. And as Bob already said, I'm representing him here this evening, more on the other matter than on this one. But just to that end, the site conditions are actually quite bad at the moment as well. I believe Matt, who actually just spoke, he tried to drive his truck down recently, and it was impassable. Just until the weather gets a little bit better, I don't think it makes sense to even attempt anything. And then in addition, I think, really it's the root problem needs to be addressed, which is the stormwater runoff, which is something that I will speak to in a little bit more detail once we get to that matter, which is item number 3, I believe.
Right. So as far as the items regarding 56 Lakeshore Drive, I agree with the OHI letter that any work should be suspended until the issues with the roadway, item number 3, have been addressed to this commission's satisfaction, because until that's taken care of, there's still an opportunity for water to come down the road and cause more damage to Mr. Moran's property. So any money that he spent on those fixes might be all for naught, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Part of the fix was returning boulders to the,
Correct. And I think we're getting past that point. I think we spoke about that at a last meeting as well, that it's difficult to get down there at the moment anyway with machinery to do that, and the water's already coming back up.
that was my question.
And my opinion was,
Within the last 3 or 4 days, including today.
Right.
Water continues to.
my opinion is just don't forget about it. The rocks aren't going anywhere. The lake isn't going anywhere. It'll happen.
It's my opinion, but it still doesn't make any sense to put those rocks back, you know? I mean, whether it's this year, next year, 2030, you know? But that's just my opinion. But that road, I mean, anytime it rains, I mean, I've gone down there a couple times. The water just pours down that road. You know?
Yeah.
So it's a bad situation for you. So.
The second thing I was just going to ask is if it's continuing to erode
Yeah,
the bank,
yeah.
what
Oh, sure.
is being done to keep that erosion sediment from reaching the pond? Are there silt fences or hay bales or anything at the toe of the slope before we get to the pond, or is that muddy water reaching the pond?
I know that there are some erosion sediment controls. It'd be a good time to ask Mr. Moran what the latest update on that is.
Sure. To the best of my knowledge, I'm not a wetland scientist, but I am an engineer in another discipline. To the best of my knowledge, there is no sediment or material reaching the lake. What's happening is it's collecting within the straw wattles and the silt fences that have been put up, and there's even sort of an embankment that's developed now. The material continues to come down Lakeshore, continues to make the turn in front of the berm. It continues to, some of it goes past the top of the slope, so there's a buildup now of sediment and material at the top, and some of it turns and goes down my slope, and there's rock and material that's just being transported down that slope. Again, eroding the slope
Right.
so that I can't get down there. I can't even maintain the property. I would typically take a small utility trailer under, behind a side by side, and I would go down that slope and maintain it. I can't, it'll roll right over. So, no, the material is not reaching the lake yet, but if we have the storms that we had in 2023, I can't be sure that it won't happen.
It's been pretty mild as far as rainstorms since last summer when the drought started.
Yeah, I guess I would just like to be sure that the erosion barriers that are in place are kept in place, and, really the sediment that's behind them, that collects behind them, should be removed so that they continue to act. If the sediment builds up behind them, then they're going to fail, and they're going to get overtopped, so they should be continually reviewed and corrected.
Yep. So how, they're being taken care of?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get back there and maintain them now that the snow and ice has
Yep.
receded. I'll keep them up, yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
And I don't disagree with Brandon that it's, if The road is continuing to contribute to that slope, to the water on that slope, and he wrote that slope, then that's not, makes no sense to try to repair it, because then you were just loosening the material that's there, and it's going to be even worse in situation, so. And also, it's still only March. We're not going to get any kind of seed to grow for another 3 weeks or so, so it would be.
Well, isn't it like pretty like scoured out on that hill? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not planting grass. That ain't even gonna do anything. All right, well,
Right, but if he did the repairs, he would be planting grass, and then that would be just, it would just erode.
and you repaired it last year too, didn't you?
In 2023.
In '23 you repaired it, and then it blew out again.
Yeah. In 2023, we had seed and it was stabilizing, and then we had the storms in July and December. The berm and the culvert system was put in 2023. The culvert system was put in last year, and after the culvert system went in, and after we went into the lake and got the rocks out, and that was the subject of that second enforcement order, but when we did that, we cleaned the slope up sufficiently to get vehicles, to get up and down it. And even though the culverts were in place, the road just washed it right out, and it's left it in the condition that it's in now. So the condition that it's in now is post any improvements on the road. And, I'll just remind the commission, I did not modify the road. I did not clear 6 or 8 acres of land. I did not modify my property. And I did not build a berm 600 feet that ends at 11 feet of my access to Lake Shore. So I have 11 feet where this is really making its way down to the lake. And I have to stand alone against my neighbors to see that we can get a resolution here, but I don't see another resolution, and I can't use my property. I cannot access the reason I bought here in Douglas, one of the reasons. Ryan, I don't know what else you want to say.
And just commissioners, I'm sorry, I might be a little bit confused here. I don't know if we're taking the two.
We're just taking them both at the same time.
Sort of, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, then look, to that end, if I may, look, we all understand that the root cause of this ongoing instability is, it's this runoff, the stormwater runoff, and I do just want to emphasize that the majority of this runoff is coming from the upstream properties that were part of the A&R subdivision. We've actually written to DEP on this on several occasions, trying to get them to come in here, because under the federal and state regulations, there's stormwater pollution prevention plans required when 1 acre or more of land is disturbed, and the upstream properties have disturbed well over that threshold, meaning that they were required to implement a compliant stormwater management plan under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, and that actually has not happened. So we sent a letter to DEP on December 6th outlining some of these violations, and despite repeated follow-ups, the DEP has failed to take any action, and the lack of enforcement we agree is a significant problem, because this is exactly the type of situation that falls within DEP's jurisdiction under, Clean Water Act and the Massachusetts Stormwater Management Regulations. OHI, has really confirmed that some of the issues that are going on here too. Look, the scupper system that's in place, which I believe was installed by the Goodisons, it's basically at the point now where he himself, even Goodison, has said that 90% of the water from the road is coming down through those scuppers, which means, at least our understanding is that the 90% of the road erosion is being directed through those scuppers, which actually would negate his single-family exemption under the stormwater rules. But Bob has been making very diligent efforts here to try and make sure that erosion is controlled. It's unfortunate because it's all really compiling here at the end of his property, and there's just no effort that's been made from the upstream property owners, David Cahill, the Goodisons, and even the Lakeshore Drive Homeowners Association. No compliance with the EO. So I just want to re-emphasize that, look, Bob is not the cause of the root cause of this problem here. This is coming from the road. Stormwater runoff is resulting from erosion that's coming from upstream. And ultimately here, we're asking for something. We're asking for that the upstream property owners would be directed to comply, to hire an engineer that would implement a compliant stormwater management plan. We've pushed for DEP action, but it's our understanding that they're likely going to hold off until there's another large rain event. And we would ask.
You're making statements that we don't really know. That's not really, we've asked the DEP to look at this. They are in the process of looking at it. To make statements that they're holding off till a heavy rain, I don't know where you get that from.
We just said that's our understanding from and what they've usually done in similar circumstances in the past. I'm just saying that's our understanding of what they're potentially doing. We have made multiple attempts to get in touch with them. It's been silent. And then we would ask just to, like, if the sediment starts entering the lake, look, the commission, we'd ask, should require Goodison to file an NOI to address the stormwater issue through an engineered plan. We're operating in good faith here. We've been making every attempt possible to remediate this erosion and the root problems coming from upstream of us, from upland of us. So to that end, that's the request that we'd make with the commission.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate your review of what you understand the issues to be. And, we also have looked at this and have considered, what our options are and the difficulty of enforcing. And that's why we brought the DEP into this, and we're looking to get their direction. So we can't do anything more than that.
May I share a video from today, Mr. Chairman?
From today?
From today.
Yes, you may.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I couldn't share this video because it was a certain file type, and I couldn't get it to download on my computer. I was going to send it out in advance. I just sent it to Brandon. This is from today. This is up about, that's Goodison's driveway on the left. You see the stormwater's kind of hugging the left. This was taken at about 8:30 this morning during the rain event. You can see the trenches. The water's kind of heading towards the scuppers on the left. There's like a little trench right here that takes water up above and sends it into that one on the left as well. And kind of what you see is kind of drier along the right-hand side, but the left-hand side, if any water's coming from up above, it seems like these scuppers are capturing it. Now, this wasn't one of those significant rain events. I'm not saying it's not possible, but this was a decent amount of rain, and I'm not seeing anything come there getting past this corner. Now, what comes from the corner is already on the right-hand side, hugging the right-hand side, and it's ending up ponding right here. And it wasn't really discharging that much towards the property. It kind of settled right there. Now, there was some that got through, and then as Mr. Moran pointed out, it's kind of catching like a silted area that's a little bit lower. And it's now making its way to the water. But you're still getting some runoff. It's not nearly as significant as it once was, which was horribly significant. But there's still some water coming. It's hard to tell if it's coming from the properties up above or if it's coming from overland flow that's coming from the properties up above that are impacting Mr. Moran's property. That's where the water's coming out. That's my understanding. And it's hard to say because if he's getting overland flow from the development of the A&Rs up above, that's definitely a violation of stormwater. They're not allowed to do that, right? So if that's where it's coming from his driveway. It's an increased flow that he wasn't getting in the past, but I think that's where it's coming from, at least on the roadway, and carrying silt down from the roadway. This is my understanding. I've been out there a few times in the last couple of weeks, and we haven't had the type of significant rain event that we witnessed a couple years ago. And if you want, I could share that video just so the commission members can see it.
Matt, I would ask that you do share that, because, you know, many of the members of the commission weren't involved at the time this came to light.
I wasn't either.
Yeah.
I wasn't, that was about like 2 months before I started.
Oh, I know what I saw last year when I went out there by myself, when I first started here, and
You may share the video, Matt.
it was
Okay.
incredible.
So, let me get it from the beginning. I mean, that hit the berm. This is looking from Mr. Moran's property down towards his. And this was catching that little area here that's now stone, right? You see that flow? I mean, that's an absolute, that's a river. And it was horrible then. And you see the video now, it's significantly reduced, but there's still something coming down. And I believe it's still concerning.
I think
For
it may be
especially trying to
showing,
get the work done as part of the 56 Lakeshore enforcement order. There's still some sort of impact to this. There's no question about it. So I'll show you
Can
a
you
couple
press
others.
play on that? Can you let that run?
Matt, I think you were showing a different video than what we received.
That one.
Now, this is the one that we received this
Yeah.
afternoon.
Yes. Yeah, there's another one. That shows it as it's coming from the roadway, making its way down, and then you can see it all getting into the water.
Unfortunately,
Substantial.
it doesn't come in well here. It's just bouncing from single frame to single frame, so we can't see it.
Wow.
I
can't see the
apologize.
video.
I had a feeling this might happen. So what I did is I brought a USB, I put it behind the keyboard, Brandon. I don't know if you want to.
Well, you know what, I think that I might have that one already. So
Okay.
let's see if I can share it. Movies, so try that one.
That was the one he sent today.
That's July 10th of 2023.
Yep.
Could catch trout on that brook.
Right.
If you didn't know what was going on, it's like nice calming rain.
Yeah.
To fall asleep to, but-
Okay, let me share this.
The water. The waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit better, but still a little jumpy. It gets the point across.
That's what this is about, yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because the top of that hill is right at the edge of the 100-foot buffer zone.
Yeah.
But I will say, oh yeah, there was this one too. This shows it going into the,
Yeah, this one's very, very short, though.
Yeah, that's just 2 seconds at the end of it.
Yeah, but it gives you that tells a story as well. And then, I want to say this one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
first one I was showing.
Yeah,
oh yeah, now we see it.
right, now,
That looks like it's-
now the water doesn't go into that particular spot because Mr. Goodison put up a berm. Like he raised it up so it doesn't go through his old parking area anymore.
And that's
But
where
now it goes
used to go.
directly to Mr. Moran's spot, which is why.
So where did it used to go?
Probably, well,
Go ahead.
I think it was held in the upland vegetated forest that no longer exists. There's like 7 acres. It's just a sand lot. They're mostly sand lot. There's 4 houses that have been constructed since then, and the lots were just stripped of vegetation. So there's,
That's Mr. Moran's opinion.
yeah, it is, yeah.
That's not necessarily
Right, understood.
what is happening. I have a different opinion. But, I mean, it has, the tree removal, the grading, I think that the grading to the road is what has caused this, where it used to be just 2 houses down the bottom of the hill, and it wasn't a maintained, it was just a dirt path, basically. It was like grass in the middle with 2 tire tracks. And they worked it to be able to have it be more accessible, and that is what, and it's the road that's really contributing the volume of water down the hill, I think. more so than the lots, more so than the clearing. But again, that's my opinion. It's not, I don't have all the facts to be able to.
Mr. Chairman, I have on the screen an aerial from 2023. This is the berm that was constructed as part of the NOI for 56. When you look at this.
55. That was 55, Matt, for Goodison.
Oh, sorry, 55, correct. Sorry, and you look at that, a couple years ago, that's what it looked like. All the water used to just go down the road and into this parcel. And when he built the house in the driveway, he built up the berm, so all the water that was sheet flowing here is now in the roadway and making its way down here. The berm effectively captured the water and was sending it in that river that you saw in the video, right down towards Mr. Moran's property. Now, he's since put in all these scuppers to try to alleviate the situation. That just might be capturing 90% of it, but that 10% still remains a problem.
So, do you mind explaining what a scupper is?
Yeah, so it's just a place where water can escape the road.
It's a flared end culvert.
No, it isn't
Like a
even
pipe.
that. It's just an opening, like, say you have a curbing, you know, any asphalt, concrete, granite curbing, and then you just have a spot where there's no curbing and the water can escape through that. That's called a scupper.
So it doesn't move it to a particular place, it just alleviates a little bit of what's going down the road, allows it to go down the hill?
That's right.
So now the berm is open a little bit, so now it's going back the way it used to go a little bit?
Well, he did create a bit of a berm around that bend, which now the water doesn't have a chance to spread out. It now turns the road into a sluiceway.
Right,
And what he did is he created these scuppers, which were those pipes
right.
that allow the water to go off-road and onto his property.
The water, those scuppers go into his rain gardens.
Right, which were part of the driveway application from a few years ago.
But were they designed for the additional flow?
I doubt it. And that's where we get into another jurisdictional question, because remember, single-family houses do not have to comply with the stormwater standards. But it's now accepting water from a road, which does have to comply with stormwater standards. And these rain gardens, some of them are within 100 feet of a wetland or a stream. So then the question is, can you pull Mr. Goodison into jurisdiction and require some kind of a notice of intent for that? And that's a very good question that I will leave up to debate.
Okay. I think we're
And
at,
to reiterate, that was our position as well.
all right, I think we've had enough conversation on this subject for tonight, being that, it's pretty one-sided, and we'll leave it at that. Still hopefully get the DEP to respond.
So is the DEP making decisions on both items, or just one of the two?
Just one. They're only making
Number 3?
number 3, Lake Shore Drive enforcement order.
Yeah, the whole.
Right.
Right.
So the whole roadway?
The roadway issue. They're focusing on the roadway issue.
The original enforcement order of August 2023.
Right, but also,
2023.
conditions have changed since
Yeah.
August of 2023, because now you have, I don't know how many lots have been clear-cut and are being developed up the hill. That Mr. Moran, tell me if I'm wrong, Bob, but you believe that the water from those sites is contributing to the problem?
I believe my engineer is of that opinion as well, yes.
Is this a private road?
Yes, that's the
That's the
problem.
other problem.
That's the whole problem.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, otherwise we'd have highway department down there fixing stuff.
All right, that takes care of that.
Yeah.
But I think the question is, has it affected something within the buffer? And it's pretty clearly seems to have an effect.
Right,
I mean,
and the original work is well outside of our enforcement area. I mean, it's way outside of our jurisdiction, I should say, not enforcement area. So,
But when they clear cut those other lots, yeah, it's not 100 feet from
yeah,
the water.
it's 500 feet from the water. Yeah.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, long.
It's a long ways away.
Right, so that's
But I mean-
that's the whole headache of it
But-
all, is that
Right.
it's physically out of jurisdiction, but you have the opportunity to bring things into jurisdiction once a problem that originates from up there makes its way down to the lake. Then you can pull whatever you need to pull in order to fix the problem down at the lake. Even if it's 1,000 feet away, you say you need to fix this so it doesn't affect the lake anymore. So that's the whole headache here.
And the enforcement order specifically notes that activity outside the buffer has impacted inside the buffer. That's the order that this commission wrote and approved in August of '23. So it's already a matter of record that it has impacted inside the buffer zone.
Right, and I think this is a good recap, but like Chairman said, we are still waiting for DEP to make some kind of decision. That's where we left it a while ago, because we talked about this ad nauseum before. This is a nice little recap, but I think that for Chairman, it's time to move on and keep on waiting for DEP.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
For your time.
Thanks, Bob.
I'd like to, tax number 5, or agenda item number 5, request for certificate of compliance, continued DP number 143-1042, Beals and Associates, The Cubes, 123 Gilboa Street, map 139, lot 1. At our last meeting, I think we were requesting that they remove all of the silt fence and erosion control barriers. Brandon, do you know where they stand with that?
They stand, they're not done yet, so they asked for another continuance.
Okay,
So it's a lot of silt fence, so.
it is.
Do I need to make a motion?
Yep, we have to have a motion to
All right.
continue.
No, you don't need to make a motion because it's not a public hearing, sorry.
Okay, moving on.
All right, we're already to others.
He's gonna beat my time. Not that it's all right.
Conservation Commission property, review and initiatives. I haven't had a chance to go out and do any walking. Joe, you did, I know, on
Yeah, it
a
was-
couple of different sites. So
Yeah.
that was great. Good, thank you. Anybody have any thoughts or comments, or?
I'm still waiting for Josiah to pull in my driveway, see what my dog does.
Oh, I'm bringing my dog also. But,
So we'll.
which one was yours? What number was yours?
I don't even know if mine abuts it.
It's, no, your property was near,
I'm on Walnut.
you're on Walnut.
I think it abuts one of them.
Okay.
I haven't done anything, though. I would like to, in particular, that one, see if my property does abut it, but
Yeah,
I didn't do it.
okay. Well, I apologize for not.
I didn't get out there either in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's
Just
been
been,
the last 2 weeks.
been pretty busy with some personal stuff.
Happens.
Yep. But, so what's happened so far with that $5,000 budget for us?
Oh, there he is, man of the hour.
I have put that in our budget request. So far, it has remained in our budget as the town administrator balances the budget. So it should be in the budget
For next
for
year?
the meeting tomorrow night.
For the selectmen meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
If it gets approved, you can say thank you.
So it's going to,
Call it the gym.
we're all, yeah, it's definitely going to be the gym fund. I don't know if I can say thank you, I mean, it's just going to cost me some money,
That's
I
gonna cost
wouldn't
me
be
too.
surprised if it gets reduced between today and tomorrow, but keep my fingers crossed for you.
All right.
Thanks for doing that, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, what's this DEP superseding determination of applicability?
For 206 West Street.
Yeah. Matt, what do you know about that?
So I've never experienced this yet, but so when we issued a determination of applicability on this, we sent it to DEP and they appealed it. And now they've issued a superseding order, effectively asking them to file a notice of intent. This superseding order kind of acts as an enforcement order. If I'm saying anything wrong, Brandon, please stop me. Kind of acts as an enforcement order for them to file a notice of intent for this project. This is when they cleared a bunch of lands that had been previously cleared, but they did a bunch of work right up to the edge of the river, and DEP was not happy about it. But the thing is, they'd like to come in and talk to us at our next meeting. So this is just an FYI for us. We'll kind of get more into it at our next meeting when the applicants can come in and talk about it.
When you say they want to come in, the applicant or the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping
Got
the
excited.
I said we're going to get the DEP here, we can,
Right, so if I may, what happened was the commission issued a negative determination for what they wanted to do down by the Mumford River. And with every decision that the Conservation Commission makes, a copy of that decision gets sent to DEP, and then they give it pretty much a once-over, and then they file it. But if they see something that they don't think complies with the Wetlands Protection Act, they flag it for follow-up. In this case, they did flag it. They decided to do their own review. They call it an intervention review. And they decide, and it involved a site visit back in December. And then they decide, it was on December 2nd that there was a DP on site, and as a result of that on site and further review, they decided to overturn the commission's decision and turn from a negative determination to a positive determination, meaning that if they go forward with the design as they had it, they will need to file a notice of intent. And as part of that, they wrote that there are certain activities taking place within 100 feet of the Mumford River that they probably should not be allowed. So the owners want to come in and talk to the commission, and I'm guessing that they want to get some guidance as to how to move forward.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have to accept that from the DEP, or?
You do. So as far as your jurisdiction under the Wetlands Protection Act, yes. So the commissions are what's called the issuing authority for the Department of Environmental Protection. It's all under the home rule provisions of the Massachusetts Constitution. So you have a state law, and each town is responsible for the administration and enforcement of these particular laws, including the Wetlands Protection Act. And the Conservation Commission is unique among town boards in that you're not like a real, quote-unquote, town board like zoning or Board of Health. You are the issuing authority for the DEP, not for the town. So this commission works under the DEP umbrella. So they're kind of like Big Brother. They keep an eye on things. They handle disputes. You know, if you have a dispute, if you have an appeal, it'll go up to them and they'll resolve it. But I'd say in 90 to 95% of the cases, the commission, the DEP just oversees and makes sure that all is going well, and you're given wide latitude to make the decisions you want. But if you blatantly, in their mind, do not comply with what the law says, they will intervene. And that's what they thought happened this time.
You said a moment ago that they would provide direction or make decisions if we were unable to, or?
You can ask DEP for guidance. They have something called a circuit rider up in all the different regions of Massachusetts that you can call and ask for advice. But the applicant is coming here, I think, to ask advice from the commission as to what to do next.
Well, would we be the right people to give direction if we already told them we thought it was okay?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the letter, and the letter doesn't say explicitly what their
I know it.
needs are
Yeah, they'll
in the
explain their
filing of
needs.
the notice of intent.
They'll explain their needs. I know what to do.
Okay.
Well, so in segue with that, if we do ask, so in this case, the DEP has said we disagree with what this board has decided. Well, we have another instance where we're asking them to help us with something we can't decide, and they're not helping.
Go figure.
So can we use one against the other at all? Is there any way to say, well,
No, you know what this is like? This is like a higher court remanding a decision back to the lower court.
It is,
That's basically what it is like.
yeah.
They're the
Brendan
almighty.
raises a good point. He's talking about how we've been asking about the Lakeshore DEP. We're asking them to get back to us, and we're getting crickets, but this one happened after we asked for the Lakeshore, and we got a response before DEP's got back to us on the Lakeshore, so it's just kind of, I understand the frustration. It's like, which one are they going to work on?
Well, Lakeshore, that's a tough call. I think it was probably a tougher
Yeah.
call than this one.
yeah, but just because it's difficult doesn't make it right to avoid it.
I mean, you're right.
100%.
You're right, Brendan.
No one's
That one we need
disagreeing.
more direction on.
Yeah, I mean, how often, I don't imagine as many items that come in front of this board where we're like, or I shouldn't say we, in the past, where we've just said we can't make a decision, we need help from the DEP. So it's not like it's every month. They get a request from us asking for help. You would think
Right.
that they would be willing to help when we need it.
Keep in mind, they are handling all of Worcester County. And they have something like 8 employees on staff in the central region.
Yeah, but we're not asking, Brandon, for them to give a decision today. We're asking for a little bit of response to say, hey, you're 3 months out, because I don't think it's fair, and I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but it's not fair to keep dragging things out with these people. If we could say, look, this is not happening for 3 months. You don't need to come back here. DEP won't be talking to us about it for 3 months.
I agree.
You think they would at least give some kind of timetable or response? It's just professional.
No comment.
You can give them a call if you'd like.
I would love to.
Call up Judy Schmitz. She's the section chief. Yeah, if you can get her to answer.
If you send me your contact information, I'll be
Yeah.
driving early tomorrow morning. I have plenty of time to make a phone call.
You probably have more luck talking to someone lower level, but I will give you her number.
It's not uncommon for them to issue superseding orders. I had a project in my work where we got issued a superseding order up in Beverly, Mass. And I was told that the North County, they're more likely to issue the superseding than maybe Worcester County is. But, it happens. It happens. So I don't think we should look at it as like, oh, we did something wrong. We need to just look at it as like, oh, they have something they want to say about it, but then they need to say what they want, what their goals are here. So I hate just getting a letter that says, remand back to you, or whatever. All right. Anything? So do we, so the applicant wants to come in and meet with us? They're going to schedule that and get on the agenda? Or should we put them on the agenda for our next meeting?
I'll leave that to Matt. Matt, did they say they wanted to come to the next meeting?
I think that's what he said.
I would say, yeah, put them on the agenda.
Okay. All right, so we'll put them on the agenda for our next meeting. Next up, orders are signed. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about tonight?
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I do. I got a complaint today, came in on Perry Street, and let me bring it up. I'll show you some pictures, and basically, it's very similar to what's happened on Lake Shore Drive.
Are you like the complaint box for us, or what?
Well, Matt is very much the complaint box, but he runs it.
This one came from me.
Yeah, and then Matt ran it by me. I said I would check things out before I head up, and I did. So I took some pictures of my own. This is Perry Street. This is the low point of Perry Street. There's a little brook and a wetland here on the left side and the right side.
For the record, this is Perry Street Extension. It's not
Extension,
an
right.
actual Perry Street. It is not a road of the town of Douglas.
Oh, great. Another private drive.
Road?
There are a lot of private roads in Douglas, I have to say. Okay, so as you can see on the right side here, there's erosion going all the way up the hill, so there's water coming down, it's going across the road and down here, and guess what here is down here on the right-hand side?
Wetlands.
Yeah.
Boom,
Ding, ding, ding.
pole number 45, here's the brook, here's the wetlands, and see that nice light-colored stuff on the ground?
Yep.
That's dirt that's from the road.
That is not ice.
Correct. Yep. Here's the brook. So it goes quite a ways in here.
Looks like it's been happening for a while, too.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes.
say, hasn't this been happening forever?
Yeah.
So is this does the complaint for something like this come from someone who lives on this private road?
I don't know where it came from.
It originated through the town administrator's office, and he passed it down to me to take a look. I don't know who originally told him about it.
So I'm following the erosion up the hill, and it ends more or less right here. And look at that machine. This is one of the New Sherborne, Chris Betancourt lots on the left-hand side where he's starting to clear trees for a lot development.
Wow, that was in action when I was there earlier, and they're clearing. So they asked us about this property, and I had to lay out the wetland for him on his plan and say, look, this is the 100-foot buffer. You can't go in there. And he's like, well, don't worry, we'll stay out of there. Now, these aren't delineated or anything. We don't know if he's staying out of it or not, because that path wraps around to the left and behind the trees. It's hard to say if he's inside the 100-foot buffer or not. There's no way for us to know because those flags were not done through an ANRAD.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about this New Sherborne property. It's like 130 acres. He's developing them so far lot by lot. And there's, I don't know, there's miles of wetland boundary in there, and he's had none of it verified. So each time a lot comes in, a parcel of land comes in for an application, I'm reviewing the wetland boundary de novo, like as in new, like I've never seen it before, which is true. I haven't seen it before. So he's taking a risk, because if I really don't agree with the wetland boundary, it might end up him having to significantly redesign a site and having to spend thousands of dollars redesigning it, but that's his prerogative. Last week, I did pre-construction meetings on lot 6, 7, 8, and 8 and 9 on Southeast Main Street. And at the end of it, Mr. Betancourt brought me down here this was right before he started clearing the land, and he brought me on a little circuit around, and I checked just to see, what was going on. So he did give me a little bit of a tour, and I did see where there were wetlands. I estimated where the 100-foot buffer zone was, but ultimately, it's Mr. Betancourt's responsibility to stay out of the 100-foot buffer zone. If he doesn't, then there's going to be enforcement. So here we have an area where the water comes off the road here, and right now it's going right to this machine. And the thing is, I don't know what's happening with the water exactly, because I wasn't here during the rainstorm. But you see, the sediment stopped where this right track is, and there's nothing much going on here in the middle. And then it starts up again, the erosion on the left-hand side. So I think there's a good probability that the water problems coming from this area, and that the work here is probably going to exacerbate the problem.
And this isn't adjacent to the Zero Perry Road.
Fire Road?
Yeah,
The fire
The
road.
Fire Road's right down the street.
so it's near it, but not adjacent to it.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, it's, well, it might, it's very
The
close.
property might be adjacent, but like this,
Right, it's very close, yeah. Yeah. I asked Mr. Betancourt what was going on with that,
Yeah.
and he says it's all on hold now.
Really?
I have a map up I can show. if you'd
Yeah,
like.
sure.
yeah, thank you. You wouldn't mind?
So Brandon, are you saying that every lot that he develops, he doesn't have to show the wetlands on there?
He does. If there are wetlands, he has to show it. Yep,
But all he's doing is showing the wetlands lot by lot.
lot by lot
instead
by
of-
lot. He's not showing,
instead
he-
of
He's not showing you the whole
parcel.
130?
correct. Not-
He owns the whole 130.
Right, and he has no obligation to do that either. If he wants to do it lot by lot, he can. It's just, it's a kind of a big risk on his end. He's got to be really confident in his professionals.
Yeah, so what's, the photos that you were looking at are right in this area here. The first crossing is, he's clearing this area here, which is part of the larger, like, we call this the dolphin-shaped lot. This is like the tail of it, right here. That enters Perry Street. He's clearing this area, but you have wetlands here, and there's a buffer zone that kind of comes up and does this. And he's saying that he's staying out of it, and it's hard to determine whether or not he is or not. Because he doesn't have any flags, or I don't think any erosion controls or anything up.
Can we give him a cease and desist if we think that he's working within a buffer zone and he hasn't come before us?
I think we need a little bit more proof at this time. It's hard to tell without getting on the property.
So what do we need then?
Well, who
Yeah,
owns the
actually-
road?
I mean, A, he shouldn't be having Brandon go walk around a site with him. That's not Brandon's job, is to review a site to tell him where the wetlands are, I don't think.
That
While
was
he's
actually a
clearing.
condition of his order of conditions. He had to hold a pre-construction meeting to set the erosion control measures for lots 6, 7, 8, and 9. Those ones are all up here.
Right, but he brought me to that lot on Perry Street Extension, which is not part of those lots. I didn't mind it,
Right.
because,
And he does have an open 53G with you, so it's not like it's on the town's expense.
Okay.
that is true. And I didn't, he wanted to run things by me. I think it's better to keep the communication lines open than not.
Absolutely.
But Matt, who owns that lot number 1 there where all the sediments coming in and on the
I
right?
believe he does.
Yeah. New Sherburne, so he does own it. That actually makes it easier, cleaner, because who owns the road?
He does.
That's up for debate. From what we understand, Mr. Betancourt feels like he owns the road, but he hasn't been able to prove to us on paper that he does.
Well-
We think like this was laid out by the assessors when Schwartz used to be part of the town. I think he had some pull with some people, so this ended up getting laid out. There is no deed for the actual road. So that's part of the problem here, is this a legitimate street? And that's something we're trying to figure out with him that hasn't been determined yet.
Okay,
It's
so,
not a road that's been created by subdivision control, and it's not a road that was in existence prior to subdivision control, and it's not a public way. So what is
so,
cart path that originally got some A&Rs erroneously approved on it by the planning board? But, it's, I'm getting off conservation matters at this point. But technically, as it stands right now, it is not a street.
okay,
It's not a road that's in existence.
so Matt, can I say that it is a piece of land that is owned by New Sherburne LLC?
Yes, this piece here is definitely owned.
Well, how about the Perry Street Extension? Is that a piece of
He
land?
definitely owns both sides of it. It's just the entire parcel, it's impossible to determine because there's no deed that references.
So that map 290 Lot 8 is owned by New Sherburne LLC?
I don't think it has an actual deed to it.
Mr. Betancourt has been claiming some kind of ownership, right?
Right.
So I think we'll really figure out how much ownership he wants, because I would recommend that the commission send him a letter at least saying that he's in non-compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act and the Douglas Wetland Protection Bylaw is contributing to the alteration of boring vegetated wetland on Lot 269, Lot 1, 190 Perry Street, and it is his responsibility to not only clean up the excess sediment on Lot 1, but also to fix the problems on that parcel 8. And we'll see just how much he wants to prove that he owns it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we can talk about 269-1 all day. Parcel 8 is just for tax purposes. It's not an actual parcel. So I'm getting into the legalese behind it, but like, I don't want to reference that in the letter because from what we understand through planning, it is not a street and it does not exist. But if it was a private road, then he would own both to the center line of both parcels and he owns both sides of this. So, hope you want to do it like.
Okay, so my recommendation to the commission is to send him, and I can do that, because we have a 53, very much a blanket 53G account to handle all lots owned by New Sherburne. That there is an alteration on Lot 1 caused by sedimentation coming from whatever you want to call that, Lot 8, and that Mr. Betancourt needs to come up with a plan to correct that. And I think maybe ask him to come into the next meeting, and then the commission can decide what you want to do from there.
Is there any chance we can get clarification on Lot 8?
It's his burden of proof. Like, anyone could do road improvements to a private road and they don't have to go through subdivision approval. So, but if he can prove he owns the road, then he can. But if he needs consent from all his property owners along the roadway, then that's another thing. It's just, as far as the road's legal ownership, it's still up in the air. He has the burden of proof, falls on him. On our end, we haven't been able to determine that this was in court with the Schwartzes versus the town in the early 2000s. And Schwartz had all these A&Rs approved on the north part of Perry Street that were denied, and he appealed it. So the appeal ended up getting, the burden of proof fell on him, and he couldn't prove that the road was in existence prior to subdivision control, that it was a way created by subdivision control, or a public way. Those are the three ways you create a road in the state of Massachusetts, and none of those ways were created to make this street. So the burden of proof falls on him.
I think I'm confused. So if he is unable to prove that he owns it, what happens?
How can
Isn't that?
Guess is as good as mine.
Then it's a public road, right? If he doesn't own
No.
it,
Then it's just.
Then whose road is it?
No man's land, no.
It's just a way.
but somebody must own it, right? Somebody must have rights to it.
No, so a lot of cases in private roads, like private owners own to the center line of both ends of the road.
Right.
So lot 13 would own to the center line and 17 would own to the center line. That's how it works on a lot of private roads. However, this one's just a little different. We're not really sure where it stands and how he's going to, like, if he's going to develop further lots on this, he needs to file a subdivision plan and create the roadway.
Yeah, okay. So how many more lots does he have to develop before it becomes a subdivision?
Is it 5?
Well, it would only take one on that Perry Street extension because it's not considered a road.
Right.
Or more development.
We're kind of getting into the planning board end of this, kind of outside of our bailiwick at this point, but let's just focus on the conservation issue here.
Brandon, I'm seeing a blue line
Well, that,
between, is that a perennial stream that would have a 200-foot buffer, so therefore,
good question. Matt, can you scroll down and see if we have a USGS overlay? No, those are ortho photos. How about like on the Esri tab or the Others tab? No.
Oh, you mean the
Yeah, the USGS topographic map.
The shaded relief?
No, it should read USGS topographic map.
I got USGS orthos and,
Yeah, yeah, there we go, down at the bottom of Esri.
oh,
Go down to the bottom of Esri, right there, USA topo maps, that's what I need.
sorry, I have the data layer on for DEP wetlands.
Yep, take that off, and there is no blue line there. So not in that spot.
So, anyway,
Okay.
Is that something we like prematurely alert DEP to so that in case we,
Nope, DEP doesn't want to hear about it. It's this commission's job to handle it as far as you can. And then when,
Until we don't.
until you can't, and that happens. And they tend to not help, this is just my experience, they tend to help towns that don't have bylaws first. Because when you have a bylaw, you have a little bit more power. So they tend to not help bylaw towns as much.
Well, Brandon has recommended a letter and he spoke of it. I was going to say at the time, does anyone want to make a motion, to that letter? I don't know if you can repeat what you said, or if you
Yeah.
can go back to what,
So the letter will be requesting, Mr. Betancourt to appear at the next regularly scheduled Concom meeting, and also in order to come up with a restoration plan for the sediment that has come from the road, at least, onto that particular lot for cleanup.
So moved.
I'll second.
thanks, motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote?
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Doug Kirk, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Get that out tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Or Sam will. Gotta keep her busy.
Matt, did you happen to attend, or do you know if they videotaped the meeting last Tuesday evening of the Open Space Committee where they were going to talk about the Keven property and that? Because I wanted to go to that, but I couldn't get back in time.
yes, sir, I was there.
Okay?
Yeah, so they're trying to get estimates for the parking lot area, so they ended up submitting a monetary amount as part of the budget to the town administrator, but I don't believe that amount ended up making it into the budget, unfortunately. So if they can find a way to do the work pro bono, that'd be wonderful. But the highway department, there's a lot of trees, there's a lot of boulders, and I don't think they have the equipment or the manpower to do the work. So if they can get someone to do it, then great, but otherwise, I don't think the money in the budget was appropriated. I put in the request though, but I don't think it made it through.
All right, thank you. Do you know if they're still planning to get a sign? Were they going through that, getting quotes for a sign?
You know, I don't think they discussed that when I was there.
Okay.
I thought Becky bought some signs and she was seeking reimbursement for those signs.
All right, I'll get in touch with them and see what I can find out.
Okay.
All right, anybody have anything else?
Nope.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Jim Foran, aye.
Brendan Doyle, aye.
Kirk, aye.
Josiah Birch, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.